today. What an honor. The first time that I met you, Gary, was in 2007. So that was, oh, no, it was 2006. It was when I first started the company. So it's been 14 years now.
I
Uh,
remember it doesn't seem that long. The
I
time has
know, I
flown.
know, but I was just thinking because my best friend from high school lived in Newton, and so I actually was able, obviously stayed with her and her family, her kids. So I just remember that that was because I hadn't seen her for like 10 years. So I got to meet you guys and all of your incredible, and I really mean this, your incredible pharmacists that work for you. I mean, what a skilled, intelligent group of employees you have there, Gary. Man,
Thank you. Thank you.
feel so comfortable and confident, um, you know, uh, encouraging my customers to reach out to you guys for your, um, expertise in all things natural. So
Well,
yeah, it's
thank you.
been a long time. It really has. And I'm just thrilled that our relationship continues to grow with Johnson's Compounding and Puremedy. Wendy, I wanted to say thank you so much for your comment. You really have made my day. This is, I hope that this sounds like it's coming from the heart because it is. I grew up with this salve, and I don't know what people do without it, and that really is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so to hear that it's made a difference for you, um, it's it fuels me to keep growing the company, keep doing what I'm doing and fighting these battles with the FDA and just trying to get this medicine in the hands of everyone in the world who needs it. Um, for bed sores, I would like to address your question right now on the onset. There's truly nothing better for bed sores than our original healing salve. And the reason is because the salve, and I'm going to show you all this science, actually helps to grow skin and tissue back from the bottom, from the base of all the layers of your skin up and the outside in while managing bacteria and drawing out, keeping that wound bed clean. So yes, use the original for the one piece of advice that I have for you when using the original healing salve as a wound healing ointment is to um, use that with a non-absorbent, non-stick bandage. There's this bandaging material called Telfa, Telfa, or just an oversized Band-Aid is fine, or just like, one or two pieces. My mom used to wash her old sheets, and we used to cut up old sheets and fold them over 3 times, and that's what we used for bandaging material back in the day. That was a very homegrown um, homegrown use of the salve. So this is actually kind of a nice little segue into the beginning. And Wendy, I'll show you exactly where this salve came from. So the photo here on the left is a mountain in Quebec. And this is where my ancestors lived. This is about 40 miles north of Montreal. And that is where this medicine originally came from in 1863. So we grew up making the salve in our kitchen, and we heard the story every springtime. Grandpa would tell the same story over and over that his grandfather got a really bad burn on the bottom of his foot, and it became infected and gangrenous. And this is in 1863. Well, that gangrene, let's say this is his foot, the wound was here, and that black tissue started to migrate up his leg, and the whole thing was turning black, and it wasn't good. The doctor said, we can try to save your life by sawing off your leg at your hip with a shot of whiskey for the pain. And my great-great-grandfather thought that he would try something different than that. So he went to the medicine man in his community, And this medicine man went up into this very forest and harvested these ingredients, these tree resins and some botanical herbs. And he blended this salve. It healed that infection and all that gangrenous material, tissue and skin in about 3 weeks, and it was gone. So no, not didn't even leave a scar. So the medicine was always passed down through our family. I have an old handwritten recipe dated January 1904 that I kept from my grandfather's papers after he passed away. I have that framed in my office. But here's what happened, why I got so interested in this is when I was about 5 years old, my mom told me the story about how the salve saved her life before I was born. Well, I remember thinking, God, I wouldn't be here without the salve. And I dedicated my life at that young age, I really did, to making sure everyone in the world who needs the salve can get to it. Because, I was living on borrowed time. I felt. I probably wasn't that sophisticated in my thought processes as a 5-year-old, but it was that general feeling. So really everything that I've done in my life has been sort of, preparing me to start this company, which I did 15 years ago. The middle photo here, Wendy, is what the salve looked like in 1955. My grandpa Pete used to sell this salve for $2 a tin. And that I still have that container in my refrigerator, 75 years later? Am I doing my math right there? And then obviously this is what it looks like today, but it is the same recipe. I've just made a couple little changes, like I've added calendula and I've added echinacea. So here's our big secret, you guys, is that there's all these wonderful topical products out there, all these great ointments that you hear all about. So what makes ours different? And this is what it is. I just reached into our ingredient bin when we were doing this photo shoot, and I pulled out this piece of resin. This is literally one of the ingredients in our formula. So this is resin from a pine tree. I love, and part of what I really have loved throughout owning this business is exploring all the corners of the earth for the very best ingredients that I can possibly find. It's just an adventure to me. We get our pine resin from a family cooperative of farmers in Honduras. For many, many generations, these families have managed this mountainside of pine trees, and they harvest the resin in a very sustainable way. And you can literally see how happy and healthy that tree resin is. It's just incredible. So we're also using the resin from a Christmas tree, a fir tree. And then the third tree resin that we're using is the resin from an elderberry tree. So we harvest that ourselves, way far away from humanity, up in the mountains. We harvest in different places every year. And I was taught how to harvest by this medicine man that I've been working with now for 4 years, studying with really. And he's taught me how to give offerings when we are harvesting, and how to interact with that tree to tell the tree what we would like to do with the resin from that tree, making medicine. And then we explain to the tree that we would like to trim off a few of the branches. And if we receive a sort of a yes, that's okay, then we go ahead, and it's really just like trimming a shrub. I mean, that's really what we're doing. But to to ask for permission with every interaction with every tree. And I've definitely had some interactions where the tree has said no, for whatever reason. Either it's not healthy enough, or it needs to keep its strength. It doesn't want to be trimmed right now. So I'm going down that rabbit hole a little bit, but it's a very, very sacred part of what I do, and I love it. So these tree resins, these 3 tree resins, give this medicine 3 really powerful actions. So those actions are, number 1, and I have science to back all this up, the salve will proactively kill any tested bacteria, about 90 to 95% in a petri dish, in just the first 1 minute. So folks, that right there is the power of nature. And the
Joni,
power.
if I can just jump in, there isn't anything we have in the pharmacy or pharmaceutical that can even come close to that. And this is something that's available without a prescription.
Wow. I'm glad that you stepped in and said that, because I don't have access to other companies' science, but I have heard that there are companies that really boast about a 90% kill rate in 1 hour. And we've got this, and I'm going to show you the slide that shows a 90% kill rate in 1 minute and 100% kill rate in 5 minutes.
And that's another reason we brought your line in 13 years ago, because in addition to the like traditional Chinese herbal medicine, you have the decades and the centuries of use, of knowledge of the use, but you're also backing it up with modern science, testing things the way they test pharmaceuticals. And that just gives another level of validation to the different formulas you have. And I'll leave now.
No, thank you. I so welcome your interaction, Gary. It's been vital to me as a business owner to not appear like a snake oil salesman. Oh, this day saved my great-great-grandfather's life, and it can save your life too. How much does it cost? Wait, there's more. I've been very conscious of making sure that everything that I say is understating and overproving. So, for example, Gary, I started working with the FDA 7 years ago. In fact, I flew out there, and I think I visited your store at the time in 2016 to basically testify in front of the FDA about the healing power of our products and to submit our science. And FDA agreed. They said, wow, this is really good stuff. In fact, you're better than Manuka honey, silver gel, all of the traditional wound care ointments that are used by hospitals. And they said, we actually think that your stuff is so much better that then we want you to actually go through the full NDA process, which is a new drug application process. So because the salve is so good and so interacting, and they wanted it to be actually a drug. Okay, well, so I was like, all right, I'll bite. What does that process look like? And they said, oh, it's great. You just fill out a 1-page application. I can tell you right now, our reviewer said we will approve it, and then there's just an application fee. So I'd like for everybody to unmute for a second, if you would like to. How much do you think that application fee is to just apply this, just to open the case? Not any clinical trials, nothing yet, just to open a case with the FDA. Gary, you probably know the answer.
No, I don't, but I know it's probably at least a 4 or 5 digit number.
More than that.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's millions of dollars to get a drug or a substance tested and approved.
Gary, imagine this: $2.4 million for the honor of applying.
Yeah.
The very first of the 3 phases, the first phase is animal testing. So I said to the if I would have succumbed to animal testing, Puremedy would be a household name, and we'd be in every country, in every pharmacy, in every medicine cabinet, in every home.
But that goes against you.
Everything, everything. So I met with the CEO of a very well-known uh, consumer products company, multinational, one of the giants. And he wanted to partner with Puremedy. He said, it's great, there's animal testing labs all over the city. All they do is, they take a bunny and they, I just want to warn you guys that this is a little bit graphic, but he was super excited as he was telling me about it. He's like, you just take a little bit of tissue out of the backside of the bunny and you get it all infected, and then they put your salve on it. And if it does what you're telling me, then you are golden. I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue. And I was like, so I spent 13 years working for different Wall Street firms, preparing myself to be a business owner. So I said, I know this is going to sound naive to you, fill in the blank with your name, but I literally cannot start a health and wellness company on the back of torture. And he was very angry with me, and that was fine. I'm done. So literally now, Gary, because back to the FDA, if I would have agreed to that, if I would have said, yes, I will pay $2.4 million to give you a 1-page application, then I will submit to animal testing. Then the second phase and the third phase, this is about a $500 million process to get a drug approved.
Well, I think you're going the right way. With your studies, you are doing the double-blind studies. You really don't need it to be a new drug. You just need to have the data and get the information out, and that's where I love whenever you come into the store and the way you can talk and show and back up what you're saying is great. And everyone's going to be thrilled as they see, as you drill down through your slides, everything that you've done. And well, I'll stop talking so I don't take up the time.
That's okay.
So thank you.
Yeah, no, I just decided to stick with my original strategy, which is to train, staff members in these wonderful independent stores. And of course, we are in some of the bigger chains as well, Whole Foods, Vitamin Shop, but it really is you guys that drive this level of education. So again, back to full circle, I just want to thank you for your entrepreneurial heart and your spirit to really advocate for health and wellness all day, every day. That's what you do. Yeah, and I really applaud you for that. It's a wonderful service that you provide people.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So back to the training. Okay, let's drill down into these tree resins, these terpenes. We're starting to hear more about terpenes because of the CBD craze. Terpenes, I believe, are one of nature's miracle substances. I think that they have managed bacteria and viruses and molds and microbes since the beginning of time. These terpenes basically are mildly agitating to the skin and surface, so they increase circulation. It doesn't feel like it. It's very soothing and calming. But the antimicrobial thing is super interesting. So if you think about, like, if I'm a bacteria and I have a whole colony of bacteria around me, and I come into contact with this, let's say this is a drop of organic lavender oil, which is very antimicrobial. As this lavender oil is coming into contact with me and killing me, I'm at the same time beaming out communication with the bacteria around me, my family and friends, saying, okay, you guys, I'm dying here. You guys move away from here to somewhere else. And they do. You've seen that on a Petri dish, Gary, like on YouTube videos where, something is killing bacteria on one thing, and then the bacteria kind of mushroom, cloud, and migrate and grow and multiply very quickly in other parts of the petri.
It's amazing. We don't think of that, but they talk to each other. They move around. They help. They send out danger signals. So one of them will take it for the team and
That's what
die and get the message out. Nature really is fascinating.
it's so fascinating. But what these terpenes do is, because they're very sticky at that molecular level, while they're killing that bacteria, it's like an insect getting stuck in a spider web. Somehow, and that's my next study because it's going to be a very expensive study. Somehow these tree resins are disabling the communication device between bacterial cells, and probably also disabling the ability for those viral patterns to replicate. So they just go, and they either starve or suffocate in about a minute, and they become unviable, which means dead. So the third thing about these tree resins is that they create a very powerful drawing atmosphere for these salves. So now that you have the basics, I'm going to sort of move through this presentation pretty quickly, and we'll skip along and hit all of the top notes here on the science. Number one, antimicrobial. I love this chart. This chart, the gray bar is the percentage of bacteria killed in 1 minute. So that top bacteria there is staph, the Staphylococcus bacteria. It kills it really fast. That's kind of the most common bacteria. It's acne, it's kind of everywhere, you know. The second one down is MRSA. In a petri dish, this salve is proactively killing MRSA. That's about a 92.5% kill rate in 1 minute. So you want to use the salve when you're using it very liberally, to make sure that as that salve soaks into to all the layers of the skin, that you have more salve on top that can also be there and really soaking the tissue with salve. Streptococcus bacteria kill, that's about a 94.5% kill rate in 1 minute. So this is totally off label, you guys, but my mom used to make me eat the salve for strep throat. This is not my salve, this is my new beauty balm, which I'm going to talk about at the end. But to eat the salve, you take like a big glob of it, like that, and then you just put it in the back of your throat, and you just make yourself swallow it. Hey, oh my God, that tastes so good. Everything that I do is 100% food grade. It's very important. Everything that you put on your body, you want to be able to put in your body. That's actually, Haley, I know you're in here. That tastes really good. Okay, yum. It's coconut oil, argan oil. All right, E. coli, Salmonella, Enterobacter, Klebsiella. A lot of these bacteria are more prone to gut and intestinal and stomach. I have been experimenting for about 7 or 8 years now, putting my original healing salve in gel caps and taking them in the morning on an empty stomach. And I'm telling you, you guys, I've had some very, very powerful gut healing experiences myself and working with other people. All right, so the second action of the salve is increased circulation. I love this study. Okay, I reached out to, you know, like when you put the salve on your face, you can see that it makes your skin flush for a minute. So I reached out to a medical device company and inquired about this $40,000 machine that measures the amount of blood that's pulsing, you know, that's in your tissue at any time. So the sales rep, you know, and his fancy medical sales, you know, came to my company, and and talked to me about this machine. And he said, you seem like a nice lady. I don't want to waste your money. He said, it's not possible to do what you think your salve can do. He said, I've worked in wound care for 30 years, and the only way to increase oxygen or circulation is to put the patient in a hyperbaric chamber or to hook them up to an oxygen tank. And so I'm like, all right, let's try it on you. So we rolled up his pant leg to his very expensive suit and hooked up his leg to this monitor, and we got a base level. I think it was 60 was his number, so 60. And so then we applied the salve, and all of a sudden, within about 5 seconds, the number started going 61, 62, 63, 64, and he grabs the salve and he's turning it all around, and he's like, wait a minute, what's in this stuff? Like, that's not possible. So long story short, we did the study with type 2 diabetics. It was published in the Journal of Wound Care last year. This is a big deal for a small little company like mine. This is one of those moments where I so wish that my mom were still alive, or I should say with us, because my mom and I, really tried to get this into the medical community's awareness for a long, 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 long time. So the Journal of Wound Care, obviously double-blind, PubMed, peer-reviewed medical journal, for them to pick this up and run it was great. So we did show an average in about 30 minutes of about 13% increase in blood circulation. So here's your bed sore question, Wendy. Not only does that make this an impeccable wound care ointment, but it also, I'm telling you, has a lot of anti-aging benefits. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. The third power of the salve, the original healing salve, is this drawing power. So this is just a very simple photo. This is me at night. I had an embedded splinter. I put, that much salve on a Band-Aid. And then in the morning, when I peeled off the Band-Aid, I was like, wait a minute, where did that splinter go? And I looked, it had already been deposited onto the Band-Aid, which, was like, wow. So you think about, again, for the beauty products, drawing out your skin. It's very detoxifying. You guys, our skin is designed, it's built with these skin pores. It's supposed to detox about 70% of our daily cellular waste. Well, if you're wearing makeup, or if your pores are clogged for any reason, whether it's mixed with, the oil in your skin is mixing with pollution or whatever, or if you have inflammation. So let's say a skin pore is typically this big. Well, if you have inflammation, if you're eating dairy or something like that, then that skin pore is going to get smaller, and it's going to be harder for the blood to push through daily cellular waste. So that salve comes in and pulls out the elements that are clogging those skin pores. It's a very clean version of Drano for your skin pores, and is exceedingly good for your liver, your kidneys, your whole GI tract. So the salve will pull out splinters, toxins, acne, insect bites, infection. We've heard it all, pieces of glass, and those stories go on and on. So you guys, not only is our original healing salve great for first aid and wound care, but you can use it for literally hundreds of applications. I just carry it with me. I use it for everything. I use it on all of my animals, my friends' kids, my friends, my family. I'm always, always giving it away, like, people on hikes that I run into that have a bee sting or something. I just kind of always have it with me. So cuts, scrapes, and burns, yes. Splinters, yes. But cuticle repair, road rash, insect and spider bites, even snake bites, although I would move up to the black salve for that one. puffy eyes, inflammation. So I live in Los Angeles, and several celebrities and models do use my line. And the super famous ones all have multi-million-dollar contracts with other companies, but they use my products. So I can't say who that is or what they do, but puffy eyes, inflammation, like especially models before a photo shoot or celebs before a photo shoot, instead of putting that hemorrhoid cream on, they'll just cake the original healing salve all over their face. Alopecia, rough skin, you can use it internally for canker sores, sore gums. Oh my gosh, earaches, you just put that ointment right in your ear. Piercings, tattoos, animals, obviously so much more. This is sort of just an overall shot of a bunch of our products. So I'm going to go through a little bit of, right now we've sort of recapped all of our science. So we know that it kills bacteria. We know that it draws out any foreign matter from the body. We know that it increases fresh blood. So now what I want to do is I want to get into some real world pictures about what it looks like when you speed up the healing of your skin. And before I do that, we're going to talk about our ingredients very briefly, because as I mentioned in the beginning, I am almost a lunatic for very, very, very pure, the purest ingredients on the planet that I can possibly find. Calendula, echinacea, elderberry, beeswax, extra virgin olive oil, and these terpenes. Everything is either certified organic or wild harvested out in the wild. Are there any questions so far? Does anybody have any questions or comments about this science?
Yeah, Ray wanted to know, is there a limited amount of time your product is good for once the jar is open? Great question, Ray.
Great question. The answer really is no. I still have that tin from 1955 that's still working really well. I did keep that in the refrigerator. So what might happen, Ray, is that over 10 or 15 year period of time, the extra virgin olive oil might begin to turn rancid. So, and then those sticky tree resins just sort of make it a little bit of a, just a little stickier consistency, not so smooth and creamy. So, I would say that you just kind of have to go by how it smells and feels. But you should get a good 5 to 10 years from a jar of sap. So this is me again. I actually got bit by a stray dog. And so I swear to God, as this dog is biting me, I'm like, oh, good, another testimonial. So you can see the 2 wounds here on my left ring finger were down to the bone. By the 5th day of applying the sap 3 times a day, the wounds are looking really good, but you can still see there's quite a bit of inflammation there under the surface. And by 31 days, you guys, you cannot see where that dog bite is. There is a little bit of yeah, you can't see it. A little bit of a little white line right there. So the salve is very good with scars, should heal wounds up with little or no scar, and also good for existing scars. What it will do for existing scars is sort of take it from a raised, puffy, like discolored tissue, sometimes dark purple, and it will just bring that down to a tiny, tiny, tiny little white line.
Joni, we have a couple more questions.
Great.
One, I have, and if this is too in-depth for now, that's fine, and we can answer it offline. I have a severe eczema, have lots of rashes due to Staph aureus. I'm using The brand name would be Bactroban, which is a very broad spectrum antibacterial, anti-fungal. But I'm afraid of getting immune to it. Does your salve get rid of staph as very well? Will it keep the staph away for a long time, or would I have to use it every day and night? She's been using the drawing salve for cysts, and it works great. And so just wondering if that could be helpful for a chronic staph infection.
It really can. I'm just wondering if you can share with me where on the body that staph infection is. Like, is
Okay,
it
so I don't
eye?
want to put the person's name out, but the person who asked that question, if you just type in where on the body, that would be
If
great.
you want to, I just want to make sure it's like not in your eye or around your eye, because it can still work, but we just want to be careful with that.
And while we're waiting for that, somebody asked, which product do you suggest for boils?
Oh, great. The black drawing salve for boils, for sure. It should pull that boil up and to the head in 8 to 12 hours. If you have the original healing salve, you can absolutely use that as well, but it will probably just take more like 12 to 15 hours, which is fine. Once that boil comes up to a head, just like with a cyst of acne, it's important to try to not touch it. Just put a new application of salve and a fresh bandage. And then at that point, you're probably going to want to change that once every couple of hours, as it's just drawing out all that stuff. And it gives, by changing that bandage, you're giving that pus a place to be deposited to. So
And
either
just to throw in the typical cautions, you want to keep an eye on the boil, and if it looks like it's all of a sudden getting bigger and bigger, or the area it's starting to spread, make sure you get in and see your practitioner. But for just normal healing and people using their health, we've had phenomenal results with both the original and the drawing.
Yeah.
And as with everything, you just have to, in the staph infections, it can be very, very effective, but you have to use your head. And if it looks like the infection's getting ahead of the treatment, it's time to shift gears and get in and see someone.
Yeah, exactly. Because, it depends on what's causing the bacterial infection in the first place. So oftentimes we find that most of the time is that the GI tract is compromised in some way. And the health of the skin directly relates to the health of small and large intestines, colon, your whole GI tract. So the salve can do a lot and it can heal a lot. But if like Gary said, you just really want to make sure that you're treating the whole body with proper protocol for whatever is going on for you. So yes, the salve kills staph infection fast. What you want to make sure that you're doing is using it liberally and frequently, so that the salve will continue to go through. Let's say these are layers of skin. So bacteria can hide. These little bacterial cells can hide in these little pockets of fatty substance tissues, like fatty tissue. The antibiotics sometimes don't get all that. The antibiotics will be flowing through the blood, but these little buggers, as we were talking about before, are so smart, and they're communicating with each other, and they find little pockets to hide in. So that once the antibiotic is gone, then it's like, hey, everybody, let's come out and play. Well, with what the salve does, which is so brilliant, is it absolutely soaks through all those layers of skin, and it soaks all 7 layers of skin and tissue. So there's literally no hiding place for those bacteria to go, while at the same time bringing more fresh blood to the area, which fights more bacterial infection as well. So you're attacking the problem from the top down and from the bottom up. Does that make sense, Gary? I see that you're muted. Um, so
Yes, it does. Very
okay,
much so.
good. So we just want to say that that yes, I would absolutely use the original healing salve very liberally and very frequently, many times a day initially, to really go at that problem. And then, as Gary said, with something like that, I would stay in close communication with those practitioners there at Johnson's Compounding. Now, the other thing that you can also do is you can email me photos of wounds or skin infections, and I can, at least get my eyes on it and sort of tell you what I think. It's very important. I start every conversation with the the non the phrase that, I'm not a doctor. I am not practicing medicine. It's only my opinion. So there you go. And here we are on that slide for moist wound healing. It's very important. You don't want scabs to form on skin. Scabs are the best thing that we've got going without any additional help. It will definitely stop the bleeding, but we can do a lot better. And that's by using Puremedy and keeping that area moist. Okay, I love, love, love this slide. Okay, so instead of doing animal testing, we actually support 3 different animal rescue organizations, and this is one of them. This is the Gentle Barn in Santa Clarita, and this is Dudley the cow. Dudley, they found in a feedlot who was missing a hind hoof from an accident. They were able to rescue him. The veterinary team actually amputated his lower hind leg. The photographer here is laying on the ground and looking up. So this is Dudley's stump, and they made a prosthetic leg for him. So it's kind of a long setup to the story, but it's such a good story. So this little black circle on that top left picture, that is gangrene, and that is a fatal leg infection. So after just 5 days of using the salve, you have all this healthy, beautiful, gorgeous, strong, newly functioning skin. But 10 days later, Jay called me and he's like, okay, even you aren't going to believe this. This is crazy. He said, are you sitting down? I was like, well, I can be. There is all this new hair growing on that brand new skin. And you guys, this says it all. This is what Puremedy does. It helps your body to increase stem cell production of new skin. And we can say that because of our blood circulation study. So eczema, psoriasis, I think it works so well because it's just pulling out the toxins that are desperately trying to leave the body through those skin pores. So what I did here is I formulated this by adding to the original healing salve vitamin E oil and, of course, organic Oregon graperoot. I'm going to plow through the rest of these here. So the black salve is the original healing salve plus blood root powder. And yes, it makes a great face mask. This photo is fantastic. About every once in a while, we'll have a facial Friday around Puremedy where, pull our hair back and put black salve. We even make the warehouse guys do it with us sometimes. But it draws out those blackheads, acne, clears out your skin pores. It's just incredible, not only for your skin, and not only does it make it glow, in like 15 minutes, but again, it really helps your body to detoxify. So it's helping relieve pressure on the liver and the kidneys. Fungus relief, who doesn't want to talk about nail fungus? So the way that I formulated this is I added thuja, which is a 4th kind of a tree resin, cedar, and neem oil, oregano oil, and tea tree oil to the original healing salve, and it just works really fast and really well. This is after 4 weeks, and she applied it maybe 8 times.
Joni, can you also talk about, I remember you mentioned a couple of times, the fungus loves water. So if it's under the nail,
Yeah,
you had mentioned about taking a glob and putting it, at the
yeah,
end of the toe before you hop in the shower.
yeah. And with the big caveat there is please be careful not to slip and fall in the shower if you have slippery ointment on your toes. But yes, it's so true, Gary. If you put the salve under the top of the nail, just dab it on and then cover the top part of the nail here before you shower or swim or bathe or get wet. That ointment will act as a barrier so water cannot get under that nail. And that's what causes nail fungus is water gets under the nail. So then after you shower, you dry off really well, and then you just rub a little bit more on and you're good to go. And then at night before you go to bed, you have do another application. At night, I like to get a pair of old socks, or I like to um, invite people to, get a pair of old socks and really put that salve on there pretty liberally, and then put some socks on so that you don't destroy your bed sheets. It's also good for skin fungus. You can use it genitally. You can use any one of my products in any part of the body, really, for anything. Our viral arrivals. Okay, so this is a fifth kind of a tree resin that I discovered 12, 13 years ago, and it's called dragon's blood, sanguinarius. This is a fascinating tree resin. It grows in the Amazon, and it's known as the tree of life. And this is a picture of what this tree resin looks like coming out of the tree itself. It is red. That's why it's called dragon's blood. And it's called, the reason they call it dragon's blood is because it's such a powerful healing agent that the medicine people in the Amazon call it like the dragon of all medicines, because it's really powerful and it really works. So it's been used as an antiviral internally and topically by traditional medicine people for thousands of years. So I went ahead and added this to our cold sore, shingles, and wart relief. I formulated each one of these a little bit differently to bring in different elements, different herbs. So, it sounds like a broken record, but I wouldn't put out a product that doesn't really work, because why? It would be a waste of time. So they all work really well. Again, you can use any of these on any part of the body, genitally, orally, um, anywhere. Sometimes people get shingles right around their eyes. I would just be careful with that, try not to get the ointment in your eye, because it will sting and burn very badly. It shouldn't actually harm the eye itself, but it's pretty serious medicine, so I would be careful with that. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about our feminine moisturizer, because I think every woman over 40 should use this every single day, internally and topically. It has the same ingredients as our original healing salve, but much less, only about 1/3 of those tree resins and more extra virgin olive oil. This was part of our circulation study. This, we can say, helps increase circulation and helps to build stronger skin and tissue. So the emotional stories that I have heard from women who are able to be intimate again with their partners after so many years, really struggling. It's wonderful. I love the this feminine moisturizer, and I'm so grateful. This sort of came to me like in a meditation one morning, and I just wrote down the formula, and I went and I made it, and it was just like the perfect formula on the first try, and it's changed so many women's lives. So I'm really grateful for this formula that came through me about 10 years ago. Okay, almost lastly, We do have 3 beauty products, and again, these are increasing circulation, so we're getting really nice, strong, healthy skin. And one of my friends who's a supermodel, she came up with the word plumpier. She said it makes her skin plumpier. So we've got the one ointment for acne, which is basically a night balm, so you just wash your face and put it on at night. Then we have one for rosacea. And the intensive skin repair is really the night cream that I recommend for every other skin type except for acne and rosacea. So it's really good for brown spots, aging spots. It's really good for wrinkles. I wanted to put anti-aging on the package, but we didn't want to discourage younger people from using it. So it's good. We had a call yesterday from a woman who lives here in LA named Mary, and she sent me a picture of her and Elvis. She used to be an actress and this little bombshell blondie thing, that did this movie with Elvis. And she said that she's been using our face products, our intensive skin repair, now for about 10 years. And she is putting together some before and after pictures because she said she looks younger now at 80 than she did at 70 when she started using the salve on her face. So that was really good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Before you jump on to the next slide, we have a question. Which formulation is best for bed sores? And then here's the answer to a question at the beginning. Which formulation best for staph on the arms and the folds around the neck?
The original healing salve for both of those. When you're treating a bed sore with the salve, let's say this is the wound bed. You want to fill that whole wound bed with original healing salve. Just fill the whole thing. Use it super liberally, and then cover that with a non-absorbent bandage. Please don't use gauze, because gauze is going to soak up the salve away from the skin where it needs to be, down in that open, fleshy skin. And then the second one, Gary, what was the second one? Oh, staph. Yeah, the staph bacteria all over skin. Yeah, just, get it like down into the folds of your skin. And my mom used to tell me, that you can bathe in the salve. She used to say, it's so good for you, you can bathe it. And back when I was starting my company in my kitchen, oh, this is such an overshare, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but when we would make a big batch of the salve, instead of cleaning off the sides of the container, the pot that we would cook it in, and throwing it away, we would literally take off all of our clothes and put the salve head to toe, and we would go into an infrared sauna and just, detox and drip. And I mean, the salve just goes everywhere. So for staph all over your skin, all over your neck and your lower arms and legs, you can just apply it head to toe. I want to say to you guys, if you are going to be using a high volume, a large amount of the salve, I know it can add up in price. I want you to contact Gary if you want to buy, 4 large jars or something like that. I will work with Gary to make sure that you can afford the salve. It's really important to me that money will never be a reason that somebody doesn't get to use my products, ever. So if you want, if you're going to be using a lot of it, or if you need any special assistance, reach out to Gary. Gary will reach out to me, and we will make sure that you can get some salve.
Thank you, Joni. That's wonderful.
Oh, I did want to say, Gary, on our new deodorants, the reason that I love these deodorants so well, and it took me a whole year to get these formulations right, is that they have all 3 of our tree resins, and they kill the bacteria that cause odors. So
and they don't have aluminum in it.
No aluminum, no baking soda, no nothing. I mean, it has things in it, but nothing chemical. Everything just from nature. So I can even dig my thumbnail along the top of my deodorant and eat it. So all food grade again. And then lastly, Gary, I don't even know if I told you about this, but our baby salves are really making their way out in the world. I'm so happy. There was a,
That's great because they've been around for a while, but they
yeah,
weren't getting that much traction. So
yeah,
that is fantastic because that's where we really need to start is with the infants,
yeah,
not pollute the body until they're adults and then try to clean up the mess.
that's right. So what happened was one day at work about, I don't know, a month ago, we thought there was something wrong with our system because our system was crashed, our accounting system, QuickBooks. But what was happening was we were getting inundated with thousands of orders for our baby salve. So I Googled, Puremedy baby salve, and it popped up right away that this article just appeared in New York Magazine. And we literally had thousands and thousands of orders from that one article. So this woman who apparently is a very famous product reviewer said that she went to her dad's cabin with some friends. They were social distancing, but she forgot her mosquito repellent, so she got attacked by bug bites, mosquito bites. And so one of her friends was there and said, well, you have to try this baby salve from Puremedy because it's genius for mosquito bites. And she said that she was certain that it wouldn't work. She reviews products for a living, like been there, done that. And she said, like, it worked, period, immediately, period. And then she said, it's so much. She went on to write this article that I would write if I could. It's better than Neosporin, it's better than Aquaphor. And she gave all these reasons. So Google New York Magazine and Puremedy baby salve, and you'll see this just incredible article about our salve. Now, I do want to say that the baby salve is not just for babies. I use this as my full body lotion. It's a very mild version, again, of our original healing salve. So fewer tree resins, not so much oil as a feminine moisturizer. So it's formulated a little bit differently, but it's a brilliant consistency. So if you just want an all over intensive body lotion, the baby skin salve is incredible. Also, if you're going camping or out in the world this summer, it does act as a natural mosquito repellent, but it doesn't have all those strong odors. And again, everything is totally food grade. So with that, and then Gary, we did change the packaging. So now we're selling the larger sizes for basically the same price as the smaller size. So
Excellent.
yeah, they have a much better presence on the shelf. They should really get your customers' attention a little bit better, a little bit easier now.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Haley. She put in a slide about the magazine article. So newyorkmag.com/strategist. That's where this showed up a few weeks ago. And then I do want to say that 25% of the profits of Puremedy go back to support where this medicine came from, indigenous medicine people. So we're working with some really amazing indigenous medicine people in the United States and now Canada to support the great work that they're doing. So that's it.
Okay, that was great. We have a comment. It says it's not a question, but Joni is so sweet. I wanted to suggest that she connect with the National Eczema Association in California, who holds conventions and markets safe products like hers. I'd be glad to give her the info. I'm
Thank
very
you.
involved. And
I
that
would
was by
love it.
Wendy. So,
Oh, Wendy, thank you. I would love it. Wendy, I want to give you my email. It's Joni. I don't know if you can see my spelling right there. Joni at puremedy.com.
well, that's great. Joni, this was wonderful. We are recording this. It will be up on our blog site, naturalcompounder.com/blog. And also it'll be on YouTube, and I'll be putting it on my personal blog, drgaryk.com. So people who want to either haven't heard this and somebody tells them about it, or I know a lot of people like to watch what they watched once because you get
Yeah.
more out of it the second time.
Well, that's
And I want to thank you again for one, all your support of Johnson's and all of our customers and clients, but two, all the good work you're doing, because it's so wonderful to have readily available natural products that you don't have to worry about if you applied it and you're holding a baby and the baby latches on. It
yeah.
sucks that, oh my God, I have to call the poison control center or get
Right.
to the pediatrician, and
Right.
that they work well and that you don't have to worry about. It's very potent and it works well, but will I do any damage if I put a lot on? The
Yeah.
worst that can happen is that you wasted some if you put too much on.
Yes,
And
exactly.
your work is unbelievable,
Thank
and
you.
it's a pleasure connecting with you again.
Thank you,
And
Gary. We're going to put this up on our social media and on our YouTube page as well. So,
great. So once I
yeah,
get it up, I'll send you the link and you'll
great.
be able to download it. And I want to thank everyone for attending tonight, and have a great night. And remember, Customer Appreciation Week is right through Sunday. So feel free to stop in or give the store a call. And everyone have a good evening.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks, for your interest in Puremedy and for um, uh, your support of our
Oh,
little growing
it's
company as well.
it's a it's a two-way street, and it
Thanks.
really works well this way. And
Thanks.
so thank you for all of your support, and have a good night.
Blessings, everyone.